And we're back on halftime. We have an update to one of Josh's best stocks in the market. Josh, tell us all about eBay.
Well, this is a name that we talked about on May 8th. Frank, I think Scott was hosting that day, so you probably don't remember it, but hopefully the gang does. We were talking about eBay in the context of this is a company that's not going to be raising costs on its users or on its customers because it's really not affected by tariffs. Only 11% of revenue on the platform has anything to do with China. 84% of the revenue on eBay comes directly from its marketplace business, and 16% comes from advertising, and almost none of it is related to goods manufactured elsewhere that have to pay a tariff to be sold here. You also have a cheap stock, 17 times earnings versus 26 times for the industry. It's a slow grower, that's why it's cheap, but it's a company with a 30% operating margin, and it has just broken out technically above the $72 level. So we talked about it, let's say 9 or 10 days ago as a breakout, a potential breakout. Now it's an actual. This is basically a stock that the last all-time high was October of 2021. It's still 10% below that level. I think we're going to challenge that level and potentially break through. If you took the trade and you're long, I would use that old resistance level of 69 as my stop, and I would let this ride, see what happens.
All right, Josh, you got two other names that you want to highlight today. Both of them at all-time highs, are trading very close to all-time highs, and you see even more upside from here?
Yeah, so it's important to note, Frank, one of the benefits of running the best stocks in the market list is it really gives you an idea of where the strength in the market is and, of course, where the weakness is. Where the strength is in the industrial sector. The XLI is the first of all of the S&P sector ETFs to make a new record high, break out above the old high. We still haven't gotten that, for example, from tech. Within the industrial sector, we have 25 names on our best stocks list. 7 of those names are aerospace and defense. And I know there's some Boeing ownership on the desk right now. We just saw one of the biggest highlights of Trump's whirlwind trip through the Middle East be Etihad Airlines committing to buying 28 Boeing jets with GE engines in those jets. That's a $15 billion deal. And all of these stocks have been rallying both before and since we saw that. Axon, you know them better as the maker of Taser. This is law enforcement and defense. The stock is just absolutely on fire. It's a breakout in progress. I would use $700 as my pivot point for risk management. RTX, this is the old Raytheon merged with United Technologies. This is aircraft engines, it's missiles, it's satellites, and cybersecurity. Also breaking out. The $135 level had been resistance as recently as the spring. Now it's back at that high and challenging. Momentum not yet overbought. I think she's going to go. The whole ITA looks great. That's the industry group ETF. That's up 19% year to date. A lot of stocks in rally mode, and these are the best stocks in the market right now.
You know, Josh, to your point, the ITA hit a new all-time high today on a 7-session win streak. Link, I'm going to come over to you. Josh actually mentioned 2 stocks that you own, Boeing and GE Aerospace. Your take just right now on the industrials and the idea of this aerospace defense trade.
Yeah, I like aviation in general. Boeing and Airbus are a duopoly. They have 13,000 planes in their backlog. Boeing has a new CEO, and he is delivering. He's changing the culture. They're executing better. It's never been a demand problem with Boeing. It's been an execution and safety problem. And so this new CEO is actually in the process of fixing that. It's going to take time, but they have 7 years worth of backlog in planes. And so to me, the visibility is very good. I think they could get to $12 billion in free cash flow by 2027. You're right now at negative $2.2 billion. So that's a turn that is yet to come, and I think not really appreciated in the market.
Yeah, look at that chart for Boeing, up about 28% over the last month. By the way, also a Bernstein upgrade, moving the price target from 218 up to 249, citing that deal with Qatar that Josh was just talking about 200 jets sold. Belsky, very quickly, you own Boeing as well. Any thoughts about the upgrade or about the trade?
No, we doubled our position earlier in the year, a little bit early, in a value portfolio. the execution in the operating side is a really, really big deal when you're looking at value stocks that have been really crushed like that. And given the fact that this stock throws out so much cash, in the theme of not only aerospace, but aerospace defense, industrials are obviously up a bunch because of Josh's pal at Uber. But at the end of the day, with respect to the kind of cash that this company's throwing off, and we think the opportunity has, I mean, Boeing should be a name that you should look at.
Yeah. Industrial is also best performing sector in the S&P year to date. Josh mentioning it hitting all-time highs. Jim, want to come over to you. You own Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, and I think both Lockheed Martin and the sector in general, there have been some narratives in the past 6 months that simply have not come true. One of them is that things like the F-35, which Lockheed Martin produces, would be replaced by drones. That was the famous Elon Musk tweet. That's clearly not happening. Another narrative is that European countries would give up on American products like the F-35 or the missiles that Lockheed Martin produces because of antagonism from the current presidential administration. That's clearly not happening either. I think there's a lot of room here to run. And the last narrative, I'm sorry to say, is that there would be peace breaking out under this new presidential administration. Just doesn't seem to be happening. I wish it were, but it's not going to. And even in peacetime, we all know that to preserve peace, you have to prepare for war. Lockheed Martin basically is one of the top aerospace companies out there. The F-35 is, as far as airplanes in the sky, the best. That's the one that people want. Well, the F-47 is a long way away.
All right, to that point, not even clear of sales from Germany. Also, Spain ramping up its defense. We've been priced into these names, so a lot more upside. One other thing, by the way, it's Qatar. You hear people saying Qatar? It's Qatar. It's Qatar. I'm going to leave it there. You can get exclusive access to Josh's best stocks in the market on CNBC.com. Go to CNBC.com/Josh Brown. Josh got his own section, or you can scan the QR code right there on the screen. He's making the face in this picture right now on the big screen that's in front of us. So you really get Josh's best stocks.